Welcome to today's daily market recap. In today's episode, I'm going to break down all of my trades from the morning. I'm going to walk you through the stocks I traded, why I chose them, why I thought they had the potential to go higher, and I'm going to share with you my entries and my exits. Now, let's begin this episode with me asking you a question. Would it surprise you to learn that the majority of my profit today came from a biotech stock? Certainly hope not, because in yesterday's episode on Sunday, which was my game plan for the week ahead and my watch list for Monday morning, I shared with you the profile of exactly what I'd be looking for. That profile was based on the type of stocks I've been making the most money on over the last several weeks. So let's just do a quick refresher of what that looked like. So we looked at my profits over the last several weeks, and we noticed that the majority of the profit was coming from biotech stocks. Okay, so biotech and pharmaceutical companies. And obviously, not just any, but a specific type. The type of stocks, number one, that are priced between $2 and $10. That's where the bulk of the profit had come from. Number two, where they were up at least, 50% on the day, and some of them were up substantially higher than that. Number three, where they had relative volume of 5 times above the average daily volume. Number four, where they had breaking news. And number five, where the float was less than under 10 million shares. So I said, this is the profile of what I'm going to look for. This is my roadmap of exactly what to look for on Monday morning. So, and I actually made a joke. I said, if on Monday morning, there's a stock on the scans, it's like, I don't know, an energy stock or something like that, I'm probably not going to be interested in it, or if it's a bank stock. And lo and behold, our leading gapper this morning, when I first sat down at 7 a.m., was PNBK. PNBK is Patriot National Bancorp. It's a bank stock. Now, I still traded it. I lost $1,500. It shouldn't be a surprise I lost on it, but I'll tell you why I traded it. So coming into 7 a.m., right at 7 a.m., this thing was squeezing up. And even though it's a bank stock, even though I had no news and it didn't make sense for it to be up, I looked at it and I thought to myself, you know what? It's the most obvious stock right now. It's probably going to get attention. So I went ahead and I jumped in it for the breakthrough 3. But look, it came up to a high of like 298 and then dropped back down. So ended up taking the $1,500 loss on it, and I went red on the day. Sometimes going red on the day, at least small red, can be good. It kind of, gets me a little bit hungry. I'm like, all right, now I've really got some work to do. I've got to make up the loss and then get to my goal. So, I'm sitting here looking for stocks to trade. That was my first trade right at 7 a.m. And then after 7 a.m. at 7:30, and I think, so the thing that really PNBK had going for it was that it was the most obvious stock at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. is when retail traders are generally coming online. So the stock that's up the most can get a little bit of attention. And that's what it had going for it. Yes, the float, 3 million shares, that also worked. The price between 2 and 5, of course, that worked as well. So, it met those standards. The only standard that it didn't meet, in fact, I erased that already, was that it didn't have news and it was the wrong sector. But nonetheless, I broke the ice, took 2 trades on it, lost on both of them, and then moved on to the next one. So didn't take any more trades until 7:30. NLSP hits the scanner. NLSP, boom, pharmaceutical company. It hits the scanner and immediately goes from $2 to $3.20. But we've got a problem. What's the problem? This is a stock that just popped up last week, or maybe it was just the end of the week before. And so I remember that it had popped up here to a high of 341, dropped down, came back up, couldn't break that level, and then came all the way back down. So today when it had news, I'm like, well, we've already done this before. We know what it's going to do, right? It pops up, it's going to at best hit that level and then come back down. So I did break the ice on it. I did get a couple small trades, but I had very low expectations of it. So I ended up making $1,600 on it, which put me back to green on the day by like $70 or $50. It was, but I'll show you the trade I took on NLSP. So NLSP, I jumped in this just past 7:30. So it had the breaking news right here. And I took my first trade on it to anticipate the breakthrough $3. So I jumped in right here at about 296. It breaks through 3, it hits a high of 320, and I took profit sort of right in this area. So I got a little profit there. Then it pulls back, dips down, and then I got one more trade down here off of this level for this curl back up towards 3. We got a high of 310, and then that was it. It wasn't able to pull away. So didn't surprise me that it was a little tricky, given the resistance from the previous move back here just like a week ago. So when you look at the daily chart on this, you could see you've got these kind of days where it's got some volume and then it just fails. And so those recent days, unfortunately, create bag holders, people that are stuck holding a position in the stock and are more likely to sell if this does pop up. So NLSP had upside resistance. That one did not work well. All right, so that was 7:30. So then at 8:20, CDT pops up. CDT, of course, is the stock that I did really well on Friday. This one went from $1.60 to $4, but there's something to note about this. Even though this did this in one candle, which is on the 5-minute chart, on the 1-minute chart, this one certainly gave us a really nice move. However, let's look at the total volume here. This was 1.4 million shares of volume. 1.4 million shares of volume in those two candles. So keep that in the back of your head because we're going to compare that to BDRX's spike this morning. So anyway, so that was CDT on Friday. And then this morning when it started to pop up, I took a little trade on it right here and, made whatever, 1,800 bucks on it. It was just a small little scalp. And so there, now I'm up 1,800 on the day. All right, so 1,800 on the day at 8:20 a.m. And then 8:30, what do we get? Breaking news on BDRX. So BDRX hits the scans and I pull it up. And the first thing I see is it's a pharmaceutical company with news. So FDA fast track designation. So I'm like, okay, here we go. And I press the buy button immediately. I try to. But here's the thing. This candle right here, if we're going to be honest, let's look at the volume. That candle where it went from $4 to $6, how much volume did it have? Only 4,500 shares. And then right here, it goes up to 650. And this is where I tried to get in right here. And my thought on it was I'll get in at 650 with a stop at 6. My order did not get filled. And all of a sudden it's at 750. And then it's all the way to 966. So how much volume did it have on the move from $4 to 966? About 100,000 shares of volume. That was it. So back on Friday on CDT, with 1.4 million shares of volume, that had 10 times higher volume. So I was able to get filled on my position, and I was able to take decent share size. On this, with a tenth of the volume, I couldn't even get filled. It just went too fast. So unfortunate as that is, as it pulled back down right here, it pulls back, and I took my first trade on it at about 8:32, which was, let's see, so it would have been right in this area, right there, for the break over 7. So I got in at 7, and we got a pop right there up to about 770. So that was my first trade, made $2,000 on that trade. So now on the day, I've gone from red 1,600, right? I'll just make this window a little bit bigger. Red 1,600, or 1,500, to break even, to green 1,800, and then I make 2,000 on that, so now I'm green 3,800 on the day. 3,800. And, for what it's worth, it's 832. Usually by this time, I've already got my daily goal, which is $5,000, or I'm well above it. So anyways, I make about $2,000 there. It dips down again. I did another dip trade. It comes back up to 750. So at this point, I'm just doing dip trades. But I noticed it got into this very tight range right here. And I was like, boy, this feels like it's going to break out. And unfortunately, it broke down. So it breaks down, but then as it curls back up right here, I got in at about 750, 775 for the breakthrough 8. I should have gotten in sooner. I got in a little high, but I got in here, and next thing you know, we go to 8, we pull back, and then we pop through 8 right there, and we go up to 9. Nice trade right there, right? And then we peak at 9, and although we popped up to double top at 935 right here, that was the spot where I really wanted to see us rip through the high and make a move, but we couldn't. Even though, in spite of the highest volume candle right there on that 10-second chart, we still couldn't break that level. So then we pulled back, we rejected. We come back up again. I took a trade here, I lost on it. Come back up, I took a couple trades in this area, I kept losing. I was just getting a little frustrated. I was like, man, what is the deal? And then coming into the open, we had this little dip here, and I got in. And I was holding going into the open and looking for a break of 966, which was our pre-market high. And you see how we dropped and then popped back up. We just couldn't do it. So ended up getting out there. So, I mean, did I make some money on it? Yeah, I did. Obviously, biotech stock with news, descending resistance here. So that created the issue there. But when we broke above it here, I thought we were good. I really thought we were good there for a move. And I'm really bummed that didn't happen. So we ended up halting down and selling off a bit. So yeah, so the best move of it was, well, the easiest one to trade for me was right here because it had the most volume right there. And then this was the biggest move of the day, but it would have been hard for most people to trade because it went so fast. But BDRX, it's a stock that's had very light volume for the last several months. No one's really been paying attention to it. Probably not a lot of recent bag holders. And then all of a sudden, whew, that big squeeze. So that's what we like to see. We call that a swing. So all of a sudden, volume comes in, it's got news, and swing, you get that nice move up all the way to 966. And by the way, I have to say, I'm feeling pretty good this weekend. Over the weekend, I got some nice compliments. So I made a post about this. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but there have been a lot of ladies in the comments giving me some fantastic compliments. And now I have to say, this one with the crab emoji and the little turkey leg, they almost got me. Now someone said, Ross, these are bots. You're flirting with bots. And I said, well, wait a second. You know what? First of all, beggars can't be choosers. I'm going to take compliments anywhere I can get them. Sadly, I think you're right. This was a bot. We are seeing a lot of spam bots on YouTube comments. So just heads up. I know some of these ladies, they might look kind of cute. They might send you a message and or see a comment like this. Hey, anyone want to help me? Tutor me how to day trade for free. And you know what? Some of you guys are going to fall right into that trap. Don't do that. Don't let it happen. You're going to check these profiles, and what you're going to learn is that most of these were just created, and if they have like any contact information, it is 100% going to send you down a rabbit hole of spam. They're going to scam you. So don't go for it. Now, it is nice always to get a compliment. And I'm hoping that maybe, who knows, maybe today when I look at the comments, I'll see a couple nice compliments. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I want to thank you guys as always for tuning in, and I will be back at it live streaming bright and early tomorrow morning. If you're not already doing a 2-week trial, link is pinned to the top of this comment right here, down in the bottom and in the description. So you can do a 2-week trial for $20. Watch over my shoulder, use the same scanners, the same charts, the same platform here that I'm using every single day, and get a sense of what it's like to really be in a community of traders who are doing this every single day full time. Thanks as always for tuning in. Reminder, my results aren't typical. Please take it slow, manage your risk, and practice at a simulator before putting real money on the line. I'll be live streaming tomorrow, 7 a.m. for members at Warrior Trading.